Antelope Freeway 1 mile. Antelope Freeway 1/2 mile. Antelope Freeway 1/4 mile. Antelope Freeway 1/8 mile. Antelope Freeway 1/16 mile. Antelope Freeway 1/32 mile. Antelope Freeway 1/64 mile. Antelope Freeway 1/128 mile. Antelope Freeway 1/256 mile. Antelope Freeway 1/512 mile. We've just passed Antelope Freeway. This is Dale Matthews. One of the things we do at BadCounty.com is tell you about county services for which you pay year after year after year, but are guaranteed never, ever to receive. One example is public access television. I'm a television producer, so I know what I'm talking about here. In the county, they call it the PEG account, which stands for the Public Education and Government Fund. You pay into it, but nothing comes out. Yes, it's against the law, but the county just keeps the money. I talked a while back with my friend Liz Irish. We were in a pizza parlor, and she wanted to know all about the bidding process to perform this service, or actually not perform any service. By the way, you can hear a longer version of this story at badcounty.com. This is the PEG RFP, the Public Education Government Request for Proposals, RFP, Request for Proposals. And that means it says, hey, companies out there, if you think you can do a better job, why don't you put in a proposal and we'll evaluate them.
Right.
Now get this and see if you think that this sounds legal, because I asked legal counsel about this as well. We're coming up to the point at which an RFP is going to be issued, Request for Proposals. What can you do, companies? What are you going to bid on this? So, 3 commissioners say, all right, let's talk about who can do what. Who's going to do the best job out there? One of the commissioners, Jim Riddle, announced before the RFP was issued by the county government who was going to win and who was going to lose on this contract.
Okay, so my first question is, in his own imagination land, or had there been a conversation so everybody knew what the outcome was going to be, other than the general public?
He announced it before the RFP was issued. This is his opinion.
Okay.
Rogue Valley Television is going to win this. Now, this is one of the 3 judges. To me, what it came out to is it's similar to having 3 judges at a boxing match. And before the first blow is thrown, this is the county in which we live, Liz. Before the first blow is thrown, one of the judges announces the winner.
It's insane.
So I went to county legal counsel.
Yeah.
And I went to the treasurer, John Harrelson. Mm-hmm. County legal counsel, Stephen Rich. Mm-hmm. And I went to the other 2 commissioners, and I said, what do you think about this? This is a rigged system. Is there a better word for it?
No, there isn't a better word.
It's a rigged system. And I used the analogy of throwing the punch before a single punch was thrown. This is the county acting in a legal way? Mm-hmm. You think legal? I asked legal counsel. Here's what legal counsel Stephen Rich told me. You might still win.
What does that mean?
Well, just because one of the 3 judges has already announced the results, there's 2 other judges, you could still win.
So pretty much every official that we've talked about so far in this system that we have that's been in existence for as many years as I've been in Southern Oregon.
Generations.
Which is since I was a child, is impotent.
Well, I don't know about their physical complexities.
No, I'm not talking physically.
No, I know you are.
I'm talking at actually doing their job. Hmm. They are inadequate, they're inefficient, and they don't care.
County legal counsel told me that it didn't matter that one of the 3 judges had already made up his mind and announced it in public.
But and I'm such a rose-colored glasses. I'm always so surprised and disappointed and left with my jaw hanging when I hear things like this. Because in the world, in which I imagined, I guess, how things worked, this wasn't supposed to happen.
This is Josephine County.
That you're supposed to have rules, and there's supposed to be procedures, and there's supposed to be ways that you deal with things, and you don't spend money that's for one account on something else, and you make everything transparent.
When somebody cheats you, you don't give them the contract again.
That's right. There's actually a way of behavior, like a common sense, a way to treat each other, the way to respect each other in a way that we respect how we spend each other's money, which is what we're talking about, right? I mean, you are talking about people put into power by us, no less, us. We vote them in, we give them the position, and then they abuse us, they neglect us, they lie to us, and they cheat us, and when we ask them about it, they don't care. And then when we go to the people to enforce it, they just kind of smile and shrug their shoulders.
County Legal Counsel.
I'm appalled.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we as citizens are ultimately responsible for this ourselves, because again, we keep voting these deranged lunatics back into office.
Well, I got to tell you more about the radio show. Jim Riddle is on the radio, and I think he was the only one on there this time, though I can't remember why. And Sandy Casanelli called in. She was always calling in and asking about the PEG account. This is before she was a commissioner. And she called in and said something like, "So, Mr. Commissioner, Jim Riddle, what happened to the $1,731.15? And then what they normally did to Sandy at that point was they'd hang up on her so she couldn't ask a follow-up question, and then they send it back to the commissioner to take as long as he wants to answer." This was Jim Riddle. So Jim just laughed. It's live on KJO Radio with the host of KJO Radio, which was
Carl Wilson.
Carl Wilson. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says to Carl, "Boy, oh boy, that's Sandy Casanelli," and they both laugh. That's nice to do to a citizen. And he said, "You know, Carl, I've got all of her answers on my desk, just waiting for her. And all she has to do is come on by. I've offered to give her these answers." And Carl Wilson says, "No, hold on a second. This is live on Carl's show." He says, "Let me see if I've got this straight. Sandy Casanelli is calling in and kind of wasting our time on these same questions over and over. Yes, which we always answer, which
They never answer. Yeah, because we know
and she wasting our time and asking us this question again. And you mean to tell me that all of these answers are on your desk there, Jim, and just waiting for her to come and pick them up?" "Yes, that's right." And so they go back and forth about basically what an idiot Sandy Casanelli is for wasting everybody's time and being kind of a liar for continuing to ask the same question again and again when the answers are right there for her to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
So Sandy hears this, and because they've hung up on her, she can't ask a follow-up question, which would be really obvious. So she calls over to Jim Riddle's office, he was a commissioner, and says, he's not there because he's on the radio, "I really would like to come and pick up this thing because there's answers on his desk." Great. So after the show is over, she goes and does something. Jim Riddle gets the notice that she's called. He calls and leaves her a voicemail message. Okay, in retrospect, that was kind of dumb. But, I mean, if you're going to leave a message for somebody, it's going to be recorded. And on the message, he says, "Sandy, you and I both know I don't have any document for you."
Why do they have to make that all politicians are liars thing feel so true? Why do they have to behave that way? Could they break out of the box and be different? Could they just stand on their own 2 feet and be good human beings?
He couldn't. So this is the same Jim Riddle that announced the winner before the RFP was even put out. So he says, "But if you come on over to my office on the phone, I'll listen to what you have to say and we'll take notes about what you know." Now, I'm not giving you information, you're going to give me information. So I call up Carl Wilson when I hear about this, because I heard the recording myself. She played it for me. And I said, "Carl, this commissioner was on your show. He belittled a citizen." She wasn't commissioner then. "He lied on your radio show. Basically, you helped him. But you should at least listen to this tape." Carl Wilson is totally not interested in even listening to the tape. I said, you ought to allow Sandy Casanelli to come on and refute this. Totally not interested. You ought to allow her to come on and play the tape, and then you can talk about the fact that you and we and everyone else was used by this guy that lied. Totally not interested. Never followed through on it. And of course the Courier, I talked with Dennis Roller, this hasn't risen to the level of a story.
Oh my goodness.
Now what are you going to do when you've got the one radio station and the one newspaper that aren't interested in the fact that this guy's caught on tape lying?
I don't know. And by the way, when you go to legal counsel or when you go to the powers that be, a treasurer or somebody else to say, help, rules are being broken, this isn't going how it's supposed to, and they turn a blind ear too, what do? We stop voting liars. We stop voting people who do not perform the way we, the voters, want them to perform into office. We stop.
There's no state remedy because right after that, of course, I mean, as anyone would try, I tried calling the Secretary of State's office and the Attorney General and all the rest of this, and their answer generally was, well, you know, don't vote those guys in next time.
We've just passed Antelope Freeway.